No, no, she didn't. She would never. Not with
She's
me.
Whitney Houston. So here's the deal. Oh, I know your back hurt. I am so glad I got laid before social distancing. Woo! Thank you, Jesus. Oh, lift up your voices if you're single, but God saw it fit for you to get laid in beautiful sin before the lockdown. I know these adult websites are raking it in. Eyes have not seen and ears have not heard the web traffic is currently seeing. That industry is hoping this goes on forever. I know some of y'all out there canoodling. I know it. You quarantine till somebody texts you WID like they don't already know. They know your ass ain't doing nothing but getting ready for him. Don't succumb to the pressure. Guys, okay, we're all in this together, and unless you are living under the same roof with your lover, succumb by yourself. To lip sync or to not lip sync? That is the question. Now, if you know anything at all about me, you know I stan a live singer. No surprise there. However, what may surprise you is my opinion or my stance on lip syncing itself. I don't care. It's not a big deal for me at all. Do I love and live for a live vocal performance? Duh, who doesn't? But if you are up there whipping your head back and forth in a corset tighter than Harriet Tubman's in the Underground Railroad, I'm not expecting your mic to be on. That's just not realistic, okay? So I don't care. My next guest is a celebrity vocal coach who knows the subject better than anyone. And today he is here to break down the art that is lip syncing with me. Give it up for Stevie Mackey! Okay, hold on. There's no liquor in this coffee.
What are you? It's too early.
Stevie, I have a dry coffee. Wait, I got liquor right behind me. I don't know what I'm complaining for. Hold on. If I can stretch. Wait, you're gonna get a little ass shot in a second. Just bear with it, Stevie, okay? Okay, yep, okay, hold.
Roxy, how do you wake up with this one?
Oh! Come on in the room.
In the room.
Oh, Stevie!
Hey!
Welcome to Terrell at Home.
I have never been alone this many days in my life.
How are you doing?
My life. I can't have no Taco Tuesday. I can't have no nothing.
That.
I know. I can't have.
How many Tuesdays have gone by since the last taco one?
Oh, like 10, 20.
Oh my goodness. Anything. You have been J-Lo's coach for how long?
Over 5 years.
Over 5 years. Did she ever think or express interest in doing the Super Bowl?
Oh, we used to talk about it. We used to joke about it, like, oh, when you do it, it's gonna be. When you do it, it's gonna be. You're gonna turn it out, like this and that. We used to, because she sees herself, her future self. She does, and that's something I've learned from her. She doesn't accidentally end up in these places. She sees herself there and prepares herself.
Yes.
And so she goes, okay, if I were doing it, I'd da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and she starts studying.
So when J-Lo or J-Lo's people or whoever called you and said, well, our homegirl is about to do the Super Bowl 2020, and that obviously means she's gonna need your genius to guide her through this process, which meant in your mind, you said, oh, I'm about to go to the Super Bowl and do this halftime performance. Walk me through what was in your head. Were you nervous? Were you excited? Were you both?
That's almost exactly what I said. I mean, she brought me to her house. So she said, hey, just come over to the house. And she cooks dinner and has cookies and stuff. So we're coming over to the house and I didn't know what she was about to say. And it was me, her, and Kim Burse, Mother Kim Burse.
Yes.
We were sitting there and J-Lo goes, they asked me to do it. I said, what? I said, when she said Super Bowl, I said, oh my God. I was like,
yes.
It was nuts. And we were just like,
wow.
a whole Super Bowl little party at the house, like excited to even talk about the ideas. We started talking about ideas right away, but you only get like 7 minutes, 8 minutes, and so it's like
Yes.
it's and they're so strict about every second. Like if it's 3 seconds over, they're like they're so strict.
I mean,
There's
they got
people are fighting for seconds.
exactly those commercials and just the
Yes,
time.
exactly,
Because
exactly.
all eyes are on the same thing for how like that 4 or 5 hours of the Super Bowl.
Yep. I didn't realize how picky
Yes.
they are about the grass and the rehearsals. You can't have too many rehearsals on the grass because it'll smash the grass. And they have to bring all these guys out there on these things. They roll all the stage out and then they roll
Yeah.
it off and it has to be perfectly timed. And you can only rehearse on the grass like 2 days. And or else it'll change the measurement of the grass and it can cause a
You're
change in the score.
kidding.
I've never been through scrutiny like this.
That is
It was
actually such an interesting tidbit.
for all of us. We had never done anything like this. Usually she's in control all the way. So there was a lot of shared ideas and opinions. So it's a learning process. We're rehearsing now for a global citizen event this coming week. So that's how we're doing everything. Skype, FaceTime, we FaceTime, and her and all these other artists are putting together an awesome program with the producers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a huge
And
thing.
it's going to be
So this is
completely virtual.
Yes, everyone's submitting their recordings.
Wow.
That's how we have to do it now as singers.
Yeah.
We have to buy our ring lights. We have to have our iPads. We have to have our little earpods. This is stuff these are essential things that were not essential just a year ago.
Yeah.
This
absolutely.
is it's part of being a professional singer now. You have to have your lighting. You have to have your means to reach the people. So any singers that are listening, that's what our responsibility is right now.
What is a good, because a lot of people in entertainment don't have employers, They don't have the ability to be like, let me reach out to my employer or hope that my employer will, take care of us throughout this time. Some of them, their unemployment check that they're gonna get is 10% of what they usually get as freelancers.
Right.
So with like stuff like background singers, background vocalists, or even some vocal coaches or other people who do that kind of work, what are you suggesting to a background singer who has nobody to sing background for to make money?
Right. I do suggest something. And I think now's the time that if people who have money are willing to spend it because they have time. So there are people who want to support you if they see your efforts. And if you're good at one thing, say you're really good at doing makeup for a performance, or you're good at learning how to use in-ears and what makes them and how do you use those things. Record yourself putting together a package for people and saying, I'm really good at this and I'm going to teach you how. And in return, can I, I asked for $50 or something, and ask for money. Say, I'm going to sell this and I'd like you guys to support right now. And you'll be surprised. People are willing to support you if they see some effort here. They're willing to put in. And I think that now's the time to, if you do something very easily, don't do it for free. Figure out how to sell it because someone will buy it.
Okay, so this Terrell at home experience and vibe is going to be different than my regular show because usually I got some words for you and you're gonna sing your face off. We'll do a little bit of that, but for the most part, this is like I want to get into some deep conversations about things.
I love this.
Yes, yeah. I want to talk about some real stuff and some stuff that might be taboo. People don't like to talk about too much. But I think right now everybody just has a lot of time to listen, and there's not a lot of distraction. So I just feel like, let's take this opportunity to really open up the dialogue. I think you're the perfect person to talk to about a particular topic that is so, it can be so, what's the word I'm looking for when it's too polarizing, right?
Yeah.
But it's really not to me, okay? So, lip syncing, right? To me, I have no problem with it. I have absolutely zero qualms when an artist goes on stage and lip syncs. Because I feel like in 2020, in the last, decade, the consumer has gotten so demanding of perfection. And you miss 2 or 3 notes, and they're like, oh, this person can't sing. I don't know what they're doing. They're tired. They can't perform live, and it's like a big thing. I don't care, and people would be shocked to hear me say that because I stand vocals. I love a live show. If you sing live, and you sound amazing. Great. If you lip sync and you sound amazing, great. As long as I get my money's worth
of the show. Give me the
from the
show.
show. Give me the show. So what do you think about that?
It's not something we were raised with.
No,
So
it's not.
at first, it's uncomfortable because I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing until I heard people, for the first time I heard people talk about the Whitney Houston national anthem and that she pre-recorded it. And I completely understand now how you have to do that. But at the time I first heard that, I said, no, she did it. She would never, not Whitney.
She's Whitney Houston.
She just always lied. I just got so defensive. I was like mad at everybody. I don't say anything about her.
Exactly.
I was like, first of all, whether it's pre-recorded, she went somewhere and sang that song down.
That's what I'd be trying to tell people the difference between, because I feel like there's a difference between pre-recording and lip syncing to the studio track. There's
studio recording when you press play and you get that vocal that's edited. That's supposed to be for the home experience, for your personal experience. But live recording that you pre-record, just pre-recording for an event, it's just literally they'll stand there with the mic and just go and move, and it's if they're on stage, they give you the full show, usually one take. Usually one take. When you see your greats do it, you know. And when you see them do it, it's like, okay, they sang that thing down, and now they won't get. What happens is you're in environments a lot as a performer where this stage is not yours. These are not your sound men. These are not your minutes to be sound checking. If something goes wrong, it looks bad on you.
Right.
And so when you deliver them a live vocal to tape and say, this is the vocal I'll be using, and put the click track, all that in my ears, blah, blah. You there's an assurance you have nowadays that no one's going to take that video like they do to everybody and put it on YouTube and
put it out.
They messed up. Yeah.
I think it's so important. This conversation, because it happens a lot with people who think when they're watching a live performance, people who think that they know everything. They're the first person to be watching a live performance, and either they'll
think
pick
they
out.
Can dissect.
They think they can dissect while you at home.
Let me tell
on
you
your
something.
IKEA.
You guys think you know, and you think you can dissect. You're still going to be wrong. You think you're dissecting. You may get one live line. It's in the correct term for it is opening and closing the mic, opening, closing, opening, closing, and it's computerized. And you'll get a few. They match it so well, you just can't tell. And even the talking, you think they're talking.
Yeah.
And that's learned too. And it's a whole thing that's studied, but it takes a lot of rehearsal to do correctly.
Okay, so let's take me from the beginning because this is really good for people to understand. Take me from the moment that they step on the stage and they start the pre-record. I know you said they do it in one take, but sometimes they do it in two. Do they sometimes mix and match them and put them together to make one? Do they go home and study and learn how they did it? And then when they perform it, go through the whole walkthrough.
I think Michael was one of the people that really pioneered this.
Yeah.
This at the rise of computers.
Yeah.
So technology had to become strong enough in the 90s, and it had become strong enough to kind of do this playback thing and to learn how to open and close microphones on stage.
Right.
Because when you're dancing and singing, a microphone moving makes a lot of noise, and it'll hit your clothes. It'll catch the background singers dancing. You have to the monitors. It catches a lot of noise, and so you'll hear all these noises, and you'd rather not hear that. You want to hear what you like,
of course,
which is the clean vocal. So I think he kind of pioneered this. So nowadays when people do it, they know, okay, I'm gonna a couple days before record certain parts of it, and certain parts you leave open, for you to do your thing with, and certain parts you close. Like say if you want to sing the chorus live, If you want to feel the chorus and say, hey, everybody, come on in, sing the chorus. And then when you get to the verses, if the verses are low, you don't want to over push. And the mic, see, when you sing soft, you have to push the gain of the microphone. And then we get the squeaking.
All the background noise and all that stuff
right.
comes
So a
up
lot of
with
times, right. If you layer your voice or pre-record it or, you know, the voice and you just are lip singing the verse, in a lot of cases that will improve the performance overall. And then when it's time for you to really go, you can go. You open it back up.
Right. I'm glad you're saying that because people do think that when they're talking, sometimes that's when they turn the mic on. It's like, no, sometimes that mic still be off. They've just practiced the hell out of it. And it's not it's not people who I want people to get the stigma out of their head that it is people who have a struggle singing live that rely on pre-records.
Right.
That is so false. Get it out of your head.
That has nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with has nothing to do with the level of singing, the level of talent at all.
Nothing.
It has nothing to do with that.
The conditions, like you said about the conditions of the environment, the stage. It could be the conditions of their voice that day, the relationship with this particular crowd.
Favorite singers,
so many things.
My favorite singers do it all the time. My favorite, and you know, some of our top singers, and it's
some of the best singers.
Yeah, it's just what it is. Now, personally, like if you come to Taco Tuesday, you ain't gonna get no track. You know, if you come to Terrell show, you ain't gonna get no track. So I personally like to sit around at a piano and just hear the live, and I will never post anything that's you know, hurtful to an artist or embarrasses them. If I'm taping that, I will never post that. You know, you do the same thing. Yeah. We post the good stuff, and that's what artists are scared of now. And if you take away that fear and say, look, we're all positive people, we're not going to put you in that light, then it loosens them up. And I like to get artists to that point where they feel like they can just sing.
Artists are terrified that they're going to, because nobody's perfect, but like I said in the beginning, there's so much pressure. I think the pressure has escalated over time. When you were on the show, we were talking about how Aretha, she would be up there giving it to the girls, but sometimes, you know, she'd be on a whole nother key, but the emotion, the passion was there, and people appreciated that more. Nowadays, it's like, oh, the mistakes are great.
I grew up enjoying the mistakes because it humanized them, and it helped me to be a brave singer. I knew people weren't perfect because I didn't grow up expecting that perfection from singers in the way that these kids do now. Growing up on auto-tune, growing up with the idea you can take all these takes. It was expensive to do a lot of takes when I was little. You just sang the song. It was studios didn't do that, so it was expensive. I don't think I don't think it'll always be this way. I think that people want to feel you more than they're listening to you. They want to know, have you really been through that? And sometimes that imperfect voice, when I look at singers like Bill Withers, who just passed away, he wasn't technically that perfect of a singer, but he could take a song and sound like, when he sang Ain't No Sunshine, it sounded like he was on the front porch really missing somebody.
And this whole conversation is not to take away from the power that a true live performance has. When there is I don't want anybody watching this to think that, you know, I'm saying I have a preference over pre-record lip sync and a actual, your mic is hot for the entire performance. I'm just saying that both can be just as great, and you shouldn't take something away from an artist because this is how they chose to do it.
Because the key is knowing how to save those magical moments.
Yes.
Were those moments magical in this pre-record? Yes, save that.
Yes.
Save this moment is magical right here.
Yes.
Don't try to fix things that aren't broken.
Come on.
You know, if you felt something, if you come to a fork in the road of being right, and the other way is emotion.
Yeah.
Choose emotion.
Choose emotion 100% of the time. 100%
Don't try to be right. Emotion will always win over an audience.
What do you think? Okay, this is the funny part of this. What are some terrible ways to lip sync to your pre-recorded track? Like, what are some of the most common mistakes that artists make?
I can sing you a whole
when they first start doing it and they're like inexperienced. What are ways not to do it?
First of all, a microphone is just not going to pick up way out here. So if you see, you got to keep the microphone close.
Tip
you know,
number
you
one, keep the mic close.
learn how to hold a microphone. Don't miss your entrance on a microphone.
Ooh.
Your hand has to be trained too.
Ooh.
Your hand has to be trained. I'm always catching people with that. And I'm like, mic up. You missed that entrance. If I'm doing this and then I put my mic down. If I hear that sound and that mic is not there,
caught. Caught.
Busted. You don't have to overdo the facial expressions. With all this over the top facial expression, sometimes singing a big note doesn't require that in your everyday life.
Tell it.
And I will always love you. I'm not over. When you overdo it, the face it tells on it a little bit. Check your frequencies, making sure that the pre-record is not louder or softer. Big difference. A lot of time when that pre-record comes in, boom, all of a sudden all the speakers work and it's volume. You got to have someone in there in the sound check to check volume levels have to be identical.
When it happens, artists make mistakes, performers make mistakes. What is a good, I could tell you a couple things that I've noticed that they do to recover. You got the turn away, you got the head down. What are some
hair covering?
Hair covering. What are some tricks to reset because you done effed up?
The worst thing you do is drop your mic. If you drop that mic and that voice keeps going, that's why you have to have someone right there to cut. If you trip and that mic goes away, you got to really watch it. You got to learn how to, you can grab one of the background singers' mics, whatever. You keep your hair over your face. You can walk. The best trick is to turn and walk towards the back of the stage. If you have a big stage. Just turn, and people, they don't see your mouth. And if they're recording, they won't catch it.
Yes.
We pay for you to perform because you can perform.
Right.
How to perform, and performing is what happens when it's not easy, when you're tired.
Yes.
When you're, that's what I'm paying for you to do this show no matter what. When your kids are backstage, when you're, I respect all of them from, Beyonce, Mariah, J-Lo, Brandy, all my favorite performers, all my favorites. I respect them so much when I see them doing this, when they have kids backstage, when they have, when they don't feel like it. Because if I don't feel like teaching, I can cancel my voice lesson. I'm not that kind of artist where I'm it's easy for me. It's easy, but it is not easy when you have 10,000 people waiting and you're hoarse. Or you have these people waiting and you are in a fight with your whoever. And the kids are whining and not paying attention at their homeschool. I've seen it all. And that's what they're paying. That's what you're paying for.
Yeah.
For someone to come out there, put on a show. And of course, they're going to be using a track sometime.
Of course.
They got a million things to do. They got to be all propped up and boosted up. They're going to give you a quality show.
Right.
Because that's what you pay for, because they're professional.
Yes. I would be way more upset if I came to the show when you tried to do it live and you was not ready for that thing and you sounded like a horse donkey. I don't want that.
I'll be mad.
Okay, I'd be like, where is my refund? I got my receipt. Where is my refund? So I would rather you go up there, because when you're pre-recording, that is your voice, and you did it at some point, and I'm cool with that. And then you gotta dance. We didn't even talk about dancing and doing all that movement and getting tired and winded and stuff.
Yeah, huffing and puffing. You kind of have to put that into the pre-record too.
What do you think about? Because sometimes. Some people don't even know this happens, but I guess I'm about to burst some bubbles out there. Sorry. Sometimes when an artist or a performer, when they go and do a television show, a Fallon, a Kimmel, a Good Morning America show, they'll do it live there, but then they will have people, sometimes they'll re-sing it, and then they'll edit it in, and then they'll cover some spots where it wasn't quite right live. And then that's what goes out to people on TV or on digital. What do you think about that?
A show like Ellen that is recorded around, earlier in the day a little bit, and then it airs later. You have time, so you can do a live take. They let you do maybe two of them, two takes of a song, and you'll do those two,
Yeah.
and we'll go in and take the best vocal out of the two.
Right.
We'll sometimes it's one straight through. Sometimes we'll have to go get a note from another performance, and I'll go into the editing room afterwards,
and put it together.
with different artists, and just go in and just make it the best it can be. Hey, put a little reverb here.
Yeah.
They did that note better from this take, and so you have their live performance, and then you're just picking the best pieces of maybe the two performances.
I think that's great. I appreciate the desire to give the best. I feel like that is with anything, with any industry that you can go in and fine tune and tweak and make better. Why would you not do that if you have the opportunity to do that?
Right.
I
come from the school of excellence. Okay, school of excellence.
We're gonna do this with excellence.
If it's not excellence, then
yeah,
go see somebody else. I want excellence. It's a fine balance. Excellence doesn't always mean flawless. It just means blameless. There's a difference. And did you catch it?
Huh? What you say? Stevie, I swear he stayed coming on my show. In person or through, what's this called? Zaboomafoo.
Zoom, whatever.
You stay dropping nuggets. That pretty much just sums up like how I feel about it. If you are gonna sing a song full live and you just you want to be in that moment, I am here for you. You can scratch, you can be a mess, and I'll be like, okay. Well, that's what she was feeling. That's what he was giving tonight on a Tuesday. Okay, and that's fine. If you're 3 hours late and you do that, then I might want to get my refund. Okay. But on the other hand, if you come out there and you give me a show that you have rehearsed, that you have been ready for, it is pre-recorded, I am still there, and that's just because I just really love the art of it all. There's an art to it.
Right.
And
there is an art to it.
I feel like they really. People would disagree with this statement, but I feel like they respect the art so much they don't want to give a bad show. They don't want to mess it up. They respect their fans and their time and their money, and they want to make sure it is right. So
exactly, and there's another tip. If you really want to hear an artist live, there are two shows that always give you live feed.
Who that?
First of all, the Academy Awards. They don't play. They do not pre-record. When Cynthia got up there, when Chrissy and all the others, Idina Menzel, and this past year, I saw every single rehearsal. Cynthia was just, of course, flawless every single time she got up there and sang it. She sang it differently every time. She's like, let me try this note. Let me try this run. And we're like,
I hate her. Why she trying stuff?
Just crazy. She's so used to that stuff. And but the Academy Awards and Saturday Night Live.
Wow.
SNL is very picky. For years, if you don't mess with SNL, like that, you're gonna have to do it live.
I feel like almost every live performance I see, somebody's yanking out an in-ear. What is the problem?
For singers or people who don't know what's happening in those things, they are in-ear monitors invented and developed by a man named Jerry Harvey, and which later his company split into two different companies, JH Audio and UE. And so those are the two prominent companies that make in-ear monitors.
Yeah,
they are just like those big church monitors you see in the church, sitting there it's that built into a tiny little expensive thing this big. Put it right here into a mold that you take a personal mold. Right. So this thing is in your ears. You in a sound check, when you have a lot of time, you tell them what you want to hear. I need vocal and I need time. I need to hear the click or the drum. Yeah, artists yank it out. They're feeling the disconnect from the audience, or they feel like they want to hear the room. And in my in-ears that I have designed for me, I have holes drilled into them so that I can hear the room. And if you don't have those, it'll feel like you're stopped up, like you just can't connect. Yeah. So a lot of times if you take one out, you'll feel more connected and natural. Like you want to feel like you're singing in your shower, singing at home or in the car. So it makes people feel more comfortable when they take one out. And as long as you are able to keep your pitch and timing, you don't really need it if you're not feeling it.
This topic, it could go on for forever because it's just
I know.
so involved.
I feel like it's not talked about enough, but also I hope that it's interesting to people. It's kind of like specific, but I hope that people find it interesting. And I get these questions a lot anyway.
Yeah.
All the time I get these questions.
I am so grateful for this conversation. I hope that it enlightens people on what it actually means. And most times when you think you know, you don't. When you think this part's live and this part ain't and this lip sync, most times you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Just enjoy the damn show.
People don't know.
Enjoy the show.
There's a lot of people, a lot of singers who think, there's a lot of people who think they're so sure of it too. In the comments, I read it all the time. And I just kind of let it go because it's not for me to tell everybody what's right and wrong. And it's just, everybody has an opinion. And does it really matter? What if you were up there, Mrs. Critical? What if you were up there, Mr. Judge? If you were up there on stage, can you put on a show? Do you know what that takes? Can you put on a show while going through a breakup? Can you put on a show? I work with people that put on shows while going through real life stuff, while going through a death in the family. I've seen people get on stage the night of a death in the family. That's when you have to realize what is happening here.
Yes,
this is people's livelihood. They're contracts.
Human.
They have contracts that they have to perform these shows when they don't feel like it.
Yes.
That's when I start really building the respect.
Yes.
And you should too, there's a lot of work that goes into these things.
Yes.
And it's easy to be critical, but
listen.
You gotta, before you open your mouth, just what you're talking about or try.
And for the ones who were like, well, they got into this industry, they didn't know what they were getting themselves into. If you can't sing live, don't do a live show. Come see me. Come see me. I'm gonna put you on the stage since you know so damn much. And I'm gonna let you give it. Right. And we're gonna see what you're giving. Because I'm protective over performance. Because people don't really realize what they go through. And, hopefully this enlightens some folks. People already knew this. If you were already on the right track, pat yourself on the back. Because you have compassion, you have empathy.
It's getting real popular nowadays to be, little, internet troll. Just everybody's so critical.
Baby.
But just
yes.
Sometimes I always could tell someone's wise by what they don't say. And
I'm gonna end it right there. Stevie Mackey, everybody. I just adore you. I love you. I thank you for speaking honestly and candidly about this topic, and just being you. You're always so just down and supportive of everything that happens here. So I just thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you're totally welcome, and thank you for being a trailblazer. You're a pioneer, and you people who come to California do that because we have a vision and we want to see something new happen. And you are the perfect example of that, of a good, you're changing music.
I love you, Stevie. Thank you so much for being here. Bye, you're amazing.
You're so welcome.
Stay safe. Please keep doing what you're doing over there virtually with everybody and, wash your hands. Hey, thanks for watching Terrell at Home. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to smash that like button, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to see more, head over to theterrellshow.com to get more. Okay?